Hey, it's YouTube. What's going on? Happy Thursday. It's the greatest night of the week. And then tomorrow, though, Friday, I'm going to say the same thing that Friday is the greatest night of the week because it really is. It's always perspective. That's something CJ Wallace himself has always taught me is man, perspective is key to success. That's what CJ always says. And if you follow CJ, you've seen CJ, you know that he always brings his A game. The guy always has an amazing perspective on life and family and relationships. That's the way it is. So I'm going to tune you into what's going on tonight. We got a meeting that's taking place in the office, and you're going to want to check it out because these are some knowledge bombs that are going to be dropped. So let's go take a look. All right. Was in the process of definitely done 18 transactions. They were what you call now wholesale, but what we did was called assignment for contract. Buy a house, and then find a buyer and assign it to them. Now we call it wholesale. Anybody from the wholesaling? We'll talk about that a little bit. But I set that in, and as a result, I've had hundreds of real estate deals and all kinds of stuff going on. Just over the top. This is what's happening. So these are words that, if I can spell right, I'm a C+ student in high school, so some of the spelling's tough. I always refer to myself as a B student. I round up. 3.92 is, that's a B, right? Nope. I was told later, because no, that's just a high C. High C is a train. Anyway, currently, compared to what opportunities going on, that's something we need to think about. Okay? And so I'm just going to pull this aside, keep the fire code, people happy. We're working on this. Let's see if this works. Last week, the first week, we broke the wall, so this week they got me a toy. Okay, so we've been working on this opportunity with this group, with investors, people, regular people that want to get into business on their own for some time. It's a plan that this group has been working on since 2011. We're just starting it here in a combined effort. Several little entrepreneurs got together with us and said, you know what, let's bring our groups together. JC and Linda, Ray and Watt, Joseph and a few others here in this room, Steve, different ones, have decided, you know what, let's combine efforts and mastermind this. And so that's where we're at. Okay? So let's take a look at where we currently are at. Just some fun stuff. So right now, if we're currently spending, does this have a, yes, the top one. That one is red, so it almost makes you feel like it should be the off button. But if we are currently spending our money in this fashion, where a third goes out in taxes, a third goes out in interest, and we live off of a third, how does that feel? Good, bad, different? You know, it's hard to say. To be an investor, take a third of your money, the living expenses, out of that, how much do you think is really left over by the time you get done? We'll show you here in a little bit what we think is left. So that's currently where we're at. Let's take another look at it. So we're going to show you the different path, the other side, where we want to head, where we want to suggest you guys take a look at, you know, I want to start a small business, I want to learn about real estate, and I want to get some of these things down so I can do some stuff. Another way of looking at it, by age 65, 36 people, 36% out of 100 are still working. 54% are dependent. That number ranges around the country from 35, 40 grand a year, whatever the number is. You'd all come back with a different number. Right? I'm going to tell you it's a range. The average dependent person in America at that point is surviving on 35 to 40 grand. Some are living with family. Some are supported by their churches. Who knows, right? But what comes down is that there are a few that got out early, get out of jail free, the lucky ones, whatever you want to call it. Got 65, man, this has been too much of a treadmill. I'm done. They get out. There's financially independent, okay? And actually, in a way, they're the ones that are between the 35 and the 80. Not 35 and the 40. These people are below that mark. So the dependent haven't become financially independent. Financially independent is that number between 35 and 40. I got that wrong. But this is where we want to go. So what do you think the 1% that are wealthy have in common? Real estate is a big one. You ask Siri or Alexi in your phone or Alexis in your phone, what do millionaires have in common? Ask the question. Ask it a couple different ways. You're gonna get the same answer. Real estate. They own real estate. They have investments in real estate. Isn't that kind of funny? Our phone knows it. So weird world these days, and we're trying to keep up. So I don't know. There's an opportunity, but then there's certainty. This certainly isn't where we want to see 1%. How about we move this over to 4, 5, 6, 7% where we are wealthy, where we make $10,000, $20,000 a month, whatever the number you crack your monthly code, you know, your monthly net, whatever it is, whatever your expenses are, and double or triple it. So you have some money left over to start investing, putting away, donating, charity, whatever it would be you do. So let's look at it. Here's what that wealthy 1% look like. 10% are doctors, 10% run big companies, 5% are super salespeople, your real estate agents, your equipment salesmen, your business salesmen. 1%, seems like a high number, well 1% or a little less probably, win the lottery, but 74% of them, Lexus says, Siri says, have a business and own real estate. Okay? And in the owning business and running real estate, we're going to talk about a couple of those different scenarios tonight. I will just take you down the path to explain you what that really is. So any questions on any of this stuff? That opportunity to be here. You can be one of the lucky ones, 5%, or you can go here. So it looks like this. There's a bucket. There's a lot of money in it. It's called money. Time, effort, money. And we're leaking. To be doing what we're doing, the 1/3 plan, we're hemorrhaging water from somewhere. And so what we're going to talk to you tonight about, and what our group's doing, what Joseph is really doing. Joseph, right now today, I would say probably pushing this button here, because the lower it is, you know, the next highest water level is up here, then it's up here. He's going to plug this so we can keep more money. You can pay off your debt and own your own home, and then leverage your own home for investment purposes if you choose to, called home equity line of credit. Buy lots of homes through HELOCs. Use my home to buy more homes, buy them smart, take the cash flow from that one to pay off the next one, get a HELOC, pay off the next one. It's called velocity banking. I didn't know it in the 90s, but I was doing it. Got up to 8 free clear homes at one point and put HELOCs on them to buy more houses. It's like owning a chicken that's laying eggs. Each house made more houses. And so what we're going to show you is a couple analogies. We only have an hour and a half or so with you of what those patches look like. Fair enough? So for Pam and I, one of those patches is flipping homes. This is 3034 East Earl Drive in Phoenix. And that's what it looked like when we bought it. And I always mark it, even my dumpster says text your name to this. If you want to make more money doing real estate, text this number. We're always marketing, so I forgot to take that off in the dumpster, took it with. So the marketing still might be going on. Probably blew off on the freeway somewhere.
Great strategy.
It's a strategy. Buy a magnet, put it on a dumpster. I can buy 100 today and find all the dumpsters in town. Then in front of construction projects. Write that one down.
Yeah.
So there's a truck, there's a car, and here's taking the house apart. There's Daryl, there's Pam, and she's just slipped right there. We can turn Daryl down what she does. But we took out the kitchen. We really renovated this house. We spent about 40, just 40, and we made around 30. Was it just right around there? I'll give you round numbers on this fix and flip. That's what it ended up like.
Yeah.
Brian is in here, but professional photography, cell phone. So this is cool. But when you go to marketing your house, professional photography. Okay, it's huge. But these are the color themes, schemes for today. Okay? So we had some opportunity on this, the house on the right and the house on the left. Both were on the market and for sale for higher numbers than what we were even thinking this was worth. And in comparison, we thought, wow, this is just going to go crazy. So we left it look like that. Now the grass is green, plants were done. We actually trimmed this out a little bit. But notice the house on the right. I can't remember the price on this. Was it $378? $378. And we were $355 when we got done. That's what we sold for. But because we left it like this, brown, yeah, beige, beige, whatever. But this is popular. What do you think sold? That house. Same thing with the house over here, much bigger, but they did the same thing. We were silly. But on the inside, when you went look on the internet, it's like, oh, there we go. Oh, there we are. Didn't work so well. I was cheap. I didn't think it would pay. I thought it looked good. I'd live in that house. He's a guy. But so that's what it turns into. So that's certainty with opportunity on the inside. Here's opportunity in and out, and it's sold within a week. Because we've stinking painted the outside of the house to look like this boring white house and that and that. And even though the grass is dead, weird how the grass died already. Crazy? And we did really well on average. We make about $32,000 a house on a flip. I've tracked them, but I haven't tracked them all, but I tracked the last 207. We're on 208 right now over the years. And I make $32,000 a house in about 107 days. And if I have a house as a rental, keep it, buy and hold it, you get my interest around $350, $400 positive cash flow, depending upon the price of the house. So who's played the game Cashflow? Monopoly on steroids, that kind of stuff. When I see a rental house for $100 a month, do I get excited? Not necessarily, unless I have a strategy one that makes sense, and there are some strategies that make sense. But for me, it's around $350, $400. It might be like 20% rate of return. You got to kind of compare the two. But those are just numbers that I have. A couple other opportunities on the fun side, when you got all the time you need and money, is going to Spain and pulling over on the side of a little tiny town and seeing what's going on. We were picnicking that day. Here's our picnic, and is that a happy birthday girl or what? Right? That's just rental car in Spain, and we took a Greek. We were there long enough. We wanted to go to the Greek islands for 10 days. Do that. So that's Santorini. It's another island. Yeah, that's that fruit punch gets to you, doesn't it? Yeah. We had fun. Cheers. I think by the end of the trip, I couldn't fit in the shirt anymore because we had so much fun. They have good food on the cruise ship. What's going on, Molly? And that's another one, is going to Costa Rica and letting the monkeys have fun with you. You know, and she got a banana shampoo that day because there was banana here, you can't quite see it. But every time the monkey jumped down, she put his hands on Pam's hair. It's just like, oh, this girl from Scottsdale's not going to like this stuff. There's probably another S word that she wouldn't use for that, but it was, oh my gosh. But that's just having some fun. We're not bragging. You know, if you don't have the time to go and do it, who cares if it's a $500 weekend down at the ocean or a lake? You know, but if you don't have the time or the money, you know, it's just crazy. But if you have the time and you have the money, go out and go places for $1,000 a day, chasing it in Alaska or Panama. In this case, I don't know what it costs us, but you know, it cost us a fair penny to go do some of these things. But we have the time to do it, and so you know, sometimes you have, you know, no time or money, and it's just really a challenge. So we want to break that code, and so Renatus is an education system. We plugged in the horsepower in this room of people. Who's on our team or teams? Just raise your hands. Phoenix, we started this earlier in the year, January. I can't remember what we started out deliberately growing a group. We call it a human ecosystem. We bring in all these different talents, get together, study down some of these paths, and get better and better at it. Even if it's not our own results, it might be someone like Tom next week who did something I learned from Tom, because Tom carved the way. He had the learning experience or the win. A learning experience is kind of like a loss. It's painful. Let someone else have it happen. If it does, it won't happen to you. Next time around, it won't happen to Tom because he's learned his experience. So this company is the one that's teaching us how to build these communities versus come in, wave the wand, say, hey, you're a real estate investor, you own a small business, and say taxes in a weekend. It's taken us years, months. But we've sped up that process by working together and collaborating. Some disclosures will say, I am, and some of the students are, if you decide to be a student and help us grow the group, you can become a marketing affiliate and help us bring these groups together. This is one of the best income opportunities in the country right now by allowing the company to grow. The students are passing the work and the word, okay? I represent all this as clearly as I can. I'll do my best job not to waste any of your time and just get to the point. You can read that. You can take a picture of any slide that you'd like. We're not licensed. How many realtors in the room? Attorney, realtor, good. What office? Remax. Good one. Up there in the clouds, above the clouds. Taking it on?
Yeah.
Yeah? Huh?
I didn't even hear what you said. I just said yes.
Yeah. You're a real estate agent?
I am. Yeah. You said something about the houses.
Don't they have the clouds and the balloons?
Oh.
See, I know more about your marketing than you.
Well,
it gets us.
Well, yeah, I've been here for a while. I didn't think about the balloon anymore, but
I was with Keller Williams, and I think there's a KW and some, I don't know, but Starbucks, I know the colors of Starbucks.
Thank you. You know a lot more than I do.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm up here today. You're gonna be up here next week, remember that, right?
I'll pass.
Okay. Anyway, it's intellectual property from this company, and we just don't want you out there posting it on the internet. You can take it for your own purposes and use it, but this is information that is put out there incorrectly is probably, exaggerated. People will do something with it, who knows what, because there's some things that we're going to talk about. If you put it out there without any knowledge and back behind it, you can go out and make mistakes, and we don't want to do that. That's why we work the way we do it. So these are just some of the groups that are growing around the country, just like this, grassroots from the ground up. Different places. And I have groups in Washington, California, in Arizona, 5 different cities. And we're going from here to San Diego on Saturday. I teach all day on foreclosures. That's my specialty. Okay. Buying at the auction for cash. I went to a real estate seminar to learn how to buy houses, nothing down, which means what? No money, right? And now I end up being an expert at buying houses for all cash. So I told you I was a C+ student, right? But it works real well. 32 grand a pop, $300-400 on the rental cash flow. So here's what we're going to do tonight. For me, what Renatus is, what they have to offer, how we're using it. That's our education services. We're independent marketing for this. We're growing. And we're the ones doing it. There's nobody coming into town, flying in and out. There's no billboards. There's no stadiums. There's no TV commercials. This is by word of mouth, successful people passing the baton. You're not going to make any purchases or decisions. Okay? If you need more information, details, the person that got you here is the one you want to talk to. What we're going to do is ask you to come back. If you like what you saw, you want to talk and meet this group, we want you to come back with Joseph and some of the trainings we got and say, you know what? I want to check these guys out and compare them against my other options. I've been thinking about real estate, been thinking about finding a way to not be, stuck in my day job. We'll come back. That's what we really are going to ask you to do. And right at the end, we'll do that. So the 4 reasons why you might be here. Let's have fun with this. So why are you here? A couple of the guests that I already asked. Remax, what was your first name?
Oh, Lewin.
Lewin. So I've asked Lewin a little bit.
Mine was just basically time, we spend every day. I mean, not all of us spend every day just going to work 9 to 5 or whatever. That's just an example. But a lot of people do, and a lot of people waste their time working for somebody else from school from 0 to, let's say, 18, and then 18 to 21, you're out of college with a career. You're supposed to be, right? But you work for, I don't know how many years, 30, 40 years, and you retire. It's like, probably at the age of 65 or 70, so that's not fun, that's not cool. Like who wants to do that? You don't even know when you will die either way, so it's like.
And you saw what the chart looked like.
Yeah, I mean, that chart's.
That's just an analogy of what's going on in this country, so I'm glad you're here, Andy. That's cool. Wants to get his time back and make money. Would you like to, Cindy?
I'm just interested. I love real estate and I'm actually taking real estate classes just for the fun of it. I'm a nurse.
You're a nurse.
I just really, I've flipped a few houses and never ran off.
So taking it up a notch, doing more, getting more creative, learning more about it, right?
I was learning.
One of the things that we don't have to do as a real estate investor is have our real estate agent's license. A lot of people think that you have to have that. You don't. Okay, once you're part of the transaction, you're part of the deal. You have a vested interest in it. You don't have to be an agent, but if you're doing it for somebody else like that, then that's why agents are there to help other people do it. So the things that we work on is cracking the money situation. That's what Joseph's talking about right there. You got to earn more. You got to pay less in taxes. It's huge. Okay, one of the reasons why people come to this. That is why I went. I was sick and tired of spending my time in the cubicle, but I was capped out at about $38,000 a year, not seeing that change much in 1991. What was going to change? I knew that if I got some knowledge, got around people that are doing it, that would be cool. And I did. 375 people got together, and at the end of 5 days, we all walked out, and I walked out on my own. But I was smart enough to at least find a few people that I networked with, and we had 12 people we started meeting on a weekly basis out of the seminar. And within 15 months, it was me and Paul Swanson. That's all it was, Paul and I.
Wow.
And we made an agreement that we would show up, and if no one showed up from 2 times or more in a row, that the deal would be off. And one day Paul Swanson didn't show up. And one more time, Paul Swanson didn't show up, so it's down to me. And so I went off and did my own thing, and I've done hundreds of real estate transactions, bought lots of houses. I know real estate inside and out, so many different ways. But I know so much less than so many other people, but I know enough about the certain things. I can do a deal. I can put it together. I have got instinct done. I know real estate because I did real estate. Just didn't learn about it. I became it. So what this group is teaching, we're not teaching it just about real estate. We're teaching it how to become a small business owner and a real estate investor. There's a huge difference because you got to go out and do it, and you got to be around people that are doing it. My little group just fizzled out. What happened? So we're going to say the reasons you're here. Probably the biggest ones are right here. But this is the power that can evaporate that. Learn it, go do it, be around other people that are doing it. You know, Napoleon Hill wrote that book, Think and Grow Rich. And the mastermind concept was one of the biggest chapters in that book. Have a desire, you know, different things are in there, but the mastermind concept is huge. All right, now disclaimer, what are we gonna say here? So some of the income, some of the things will make more, some people make less. We got somebody this Saturday, showed her house. They joined the group, I think in November, her name is Emily. She's selling a 650 house, I think 650, 675, and she's making, you might understand, $100,000 on a fix and flip. One of her first ones, I know, that's worthy, you know?
Yeah.
Here in Phoenix or Arizona, she moved from the Midwest, had done some real estate. Well, you probably Cindy, when she done some, but said, I want to take this thing higher. Saw this group, started small, and then said, I'm jumping all the way in. And so now Emily was in our mastermind.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We're at Fix and Flip Mastermind from January to June with about 22 people on average. Did 22 real estate deals. They're not all finished yet. That was just one. You know, we started on the takes a while sometimes. And we raised $6,355,000 of private money so we could go do more real estate. And we really pushed hard on raising the money. Because if you have money, it makes real estate investing a lot easier. Okay? And so we'll talk about both. Absolutely. So here's a couple of the trainings we're going to go through. There's 2 slides. I'll just show you. There's some numbers, and there's this. Okay. So just go look at it. So the person that has a job, the pie chart where we're not making so much money. At the end of the day, it's 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, right? It ends up being dependent and not financially secure. Usually has what we call a low efficiency existence from a financial standpoint. They don't understand debt. It's not just their house and their car, but it's credit cards. I'll stand over here so Doug can see everything besides my backside. But we're in debt. How much on average is an American in debt outside of their house? 16K is a number for several. That's one. Anybody else? 25,000, 20,000. Yeah, and we're paying time payments. Why are we doing that? We're living on time, borrowed money. How about in taxes? We'll hit it hard, but I mean, you think people are paying more than they should in fair taxes?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, every 2 weeks they take money out of your check before you get it. Doesn't seem fair. How about if you could turn it around the other way? You get paid all the money at the end of the year. You decide, based on how you run your life, your business, and everything, how much the tax should be. So what if you had a banner year like Amazon did last year, and they made billions of dollars and paid how much taxes, JC?
None.
Zero. Well, obviously, they probably started up a lot of operations, bought a lot of equipment, did a lot of other things to write off the income against it. But can you do that down here?
No.
Only very limited. There's a dozen, maybe 15 different deductions you can take. Where if you're in a high efficiency running a business, you can have hundreds of ways to deduct your money. Liabilities. Is your house an asset or a liability, the one you live in right now? A little bit of both, but from an income standpoint, it's a liability. From an asset or a capital on your balance sheet, it should be an asset. You should have equity, and it should be worth more than what you owe. But every month, you pay bills. Unless you Airbnb out rooms and shared housing, you know, that kind of thing, your house costs you. Over time, hopefully, it goes up. And we're going to show you that, too, because there's a difference between the house going up and the debt going down. That's the margin, that's called money. the equity, call it what you want. But our houses are liabilities, unfortunately. And we can convert and change that. You have pretty much a fixed income at your job. I was getting $38,000 a month as an insurance agent and not seeing it go up by much. Unless I wanted to work a lot of hours, being a super salesman, selling insurance policies that I really wasn't excited about selling. But you can be a high efficiency vibration. You can get into business, start doing some real estate deals, start cranking it and making some good money, buying your time back, what you're doing, and we can accelerate our debt. So we'll get into debt, but let's get out of debt as fast as we can, especially with real estate. Well, maybe not. Maybe your credit cards, maybe your student loans, maybe your car. Maybe we should get debt on those first as we start going on, okay? We don't look at taxes, we look at write-offs. How can I write it off? Everything Pam and I are doing from when we left the house this morning till we get back next Monday night is a tax write-off because we're coming down here working with you guys. We're going over to Southern California on Saturday teaching. My phone, things we spend money on, the gas, the truck, lots of stuff. And so in our day-to-day life, things that most people, will buy and use, and then paying for cash, will pay tax on the money that they use to buy and use and do it with. Well, we don't. We'll end up taking write-offs, everything there, and it gets deducted. So that at the end of the day, we'll show the next slide, we're taxed on less because we've been able to take our adjusted gross income and dropped it, because we can write off so many more things than the person down here. We look at assets and liabilities. We can turn your own personal house into an asset. There's ways that, there's a lot of ways. And from a lifestyle standpoint, you may not want to have other people living in your house. If that's the case, it's all right. But you could look at your house like the one Pam and I are in. I firmly feel that one of the best tax write-offs in the country right now, or the best one, is your own home. Did you live in your own home for 2 years or more as a single person, and it doubles in value, goes from $250 to $500, that $250,000 is not taxable from an income standpoint? If you are married and your house goes up over time by $500,000 or more, but the first $500,000 is not taxable. Isn't that crazy? That's zero tax. So let me ask a couple people a question. Picking on Tom and maybe whoever. When you were a kid, I'm looking at people that are a little more mature than some of you. What was the house worth when you were a kid, do you think?
When I was a kid?
Like in your teens, one of your childhood homes.
It was probably right around 60.
Where was that at?
The Hillsborough.
Hillsborough, so 60. Any idea what it's worth today?
It's probably a little over 400,000 now.
Or more. So from 60 to 400. Wow. Okay. Linda, do you remember your childhood home?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
It was probably 50 and now it's in North.
Anybody else want to throw out what they think the childhood home was worth and what it's worth at PGC?
When we moved here in '73, my parents bought their house for $24,000 down on the south side of town. And the last time I saw it, it was worth $320,000.
My family childhood home, that's crazy. My family childhood family home cost 50 grand. The lot they put it on cost 50 grand. That was in 1958, 59. 50 and 50, that's 100 grand. And it sold a couple years ago for $935,000.
And that was in Seattle?
That was in Seattle, Washington. So, I don't know, went up 9 times. I don't know what the percentage rate is, put in a calculator. But the thing is, if you just stay in your own home and pay it off, over time you could sell it, and that could be your retirement. But what happens in America, that's what Joseph's talking about there, we keep refinancing, and we're just chasing, and we're in debt, we're doing the wrong thing. We are creating a liability. So we look at our income, and we control it, and have multiple ways where money's coming in so that we can deduct as much as we possibly can, and at the end of the day, end up with more. This is what it looks like. The employee runs off their social security number. Their cash flow goes through the 1/3. You already saw that. We spend about a half, so we get 1/3 lifestyle, but we spend more. That's why we're in debt, $16,000 to $20,000, $30,000. We spend more than our third. everything sales tax, right? Everybody pays sales tax, even the business owner up here, high efficiency pays sales tax. But at the end of the day, end of the year, after all our taxation, all of our usage, we end up as a W-2 person, a person that has a job like I was, at 7%. Get into business, start a business, talk to the state, find a name you like. Is that open? Great. I want to form an LLC. I want to form a little corporation, whatever it happens to be. I get an employee identification number. You go to the IRS and say, I got an employee identification number and I got a name. Give me my number. Okay? So you get your identification from the state, you go to the IRS, and now you go to the bank and say, set me up a big business banking account. Now I'm in business. Okay? The state's licensed me, the feds have given me my number, and off I go, and here I go. So 100% of the money comes out, and we don't pay our taxes up front. Every 2 weeks they take it out, every month, how are you doing? You know, you just get deducted based on how many exemptions. You want more money on your paycheck? Well, here's your exemptions. I'm not saying that that's advice. See, I told you I was going to give advice. That's not tax or legal advice. But if you want more, you can have less taken out. And you can gauge at the end of the year how much your tax return is. Who gets a tax return? You know, like it. You're giving the bank or the government a free loan, really, of your own money. It's unfortunate. I've done it too. Okay? We usually pay our taxes and we pay them after the fact. So half of the money we use, we haven't paid any in taxes. Everybody pays their life tax. Our net taxable income is dropped down to 40%. And so now we have an 8% tax on average. I've paid less than 10% single digit taxes on hundreds of thousands of dollars because I've been able to work the numbers. And I have 32% left over to invest versus 7% left over. Right? So I have 40% of my money. They're grabbing a third of it right here. Here's the difference, right? And there's the difference right there. Let me decide where I'm at. And again, I take my taxes into everybody in this room. When you did the taxes, you'd all come up with a different number, but it would be a single digit number in most cases because I'm running it through a business, not my W-2. Fair enough? Okay, we're just doing short little blips of reality, opportunity, and certainty. Because certainty right now, in many cases, like I just said, 90% of America is not functioning at the level that we wanted financially. You know, when Pam and I went to Europe and spent time there, we talked to cab drivers. I don't think we used Lyft or anything like that, but we used some of them, and we talked to restaurant people and business owners, and we were just curious, what did the people in Europe, and we were in Spain, London, and Rome a little bit, Italy, and a little bit of the Greek islands. And we asked them, you know, what do you guys think of Americans? What do you think that they thought of us? What were they thinking, JC?
They're probably wondering what the heck's wrong with us.
What's wrong with us?
You know, because, you know, America's always been known as a land of opportunity.
Yeah.
Why aren't people taking the advantage of the opportunities that exist for us?
That actually is what they said to us. They said, you know what, you've taken it for granted.
Wow.
We feel that you are in a place where we all want to be there. And the opportunity to do what you guys have done, you're taking it for granted and you're squandering it. If we were there, we had that system, look what we would do with it. And most of us are just saying, you know what, we're settling for whatever it is, and we're just, you know, it's crazy. It's like, wow, we're not ugly Americans, we're not this, we're not that. But we have a land of opportunity and we're not doing anything with it. We go to our jobs, we do our thing. They have a better lifestyle than we do. They take time off during the day. They have, you know, try to go have dinner around 5 to 7 o'clock or go to a store in Europe. They're done. They're at home. They're closed. You go to dinner. We go to dinner at 8, 8:30. We try to have dinner one night at like 6. The normal time, right? 5. No, they're all closed down. They're all at home with their families. They're doing whatever they're doing. Actually, it's their other restaurants and businesses all together. Bless you. Doing their things, talking, socializing. It's just crazy. So the whole concept here, what we're trying to say to you, is that being in a business versus being an employee has serious, serious cash consequences. If you love your job, well, say you're the best school teacher in the world, and that's what you want to do, love it, enjoy it, but take this money somehow, some way, and let's put it into some high efficiency investing. It's okay if you have a job. If you like it, go and be there and do the best you can. Be the best employee. You know, if I was in the job again, I show up early. I I wouldn't take lunch breaks. I'd stay late. Why not? You know, I'd even forego my vacation. Work my butt off. Right? But most people, they get there late, goof around at lunch. I'm just teasing with you guys, but you know, I work 14 to 16 hours a day sometimes, you know, because it's worth it. Some people, they hate their job. I thought my job sucked. Okay? My insurance job. That's the main job I had for 14 years. I took the longest breaks I could. I went to lunch. I got out of the building. You know, I got in late. I left early. I had phantom appointments to see people. It's called golfing or fishing. You know, it was insurance. I had to go out and pull their insurance, right? So, but you know, give it your all. So here's a possible change. So what I just talked to you about versus the 1/3 could look like this. In essence, the high efficiency path looks like this. Get your interest down to the point where you're paying 10% or less. Leverage the heck out of it. Okay? But don't be paying 1/3 of everything you've got goes out in interest and 1/3 out in taxes. Get your taxes down to 10% or less. Double digit. And if you have to pay 12 or 15%, hopefully you made a whole bucket load of money and you're paying your taxes. That's fine. But this lifestyle doesn't mean you spend all your time in Europe or Costa Rica, Palm Springs or Mexico, wherever we go. But you have the option to, and like you said, you have the time and the money. Once you got this kind of lifestyle, now you can start taking the high efficiency investing and the things that we're training and learning how to do. You go out and put assets in the asset column that are spinning off cash flow and making us millionaires because we're buying it cheap, fixing it up, making it worth more, leveraging it, and on we go. On we go. What if you just bought 10 houses in the next 10 years and learned to pay them all off? One house a year. By the end of the next 10 years, you either paid them all off or real close to them. That's what Joseph's talking about in there. Training we're going to go through. And velocity banking is part of what this is. The typical mortgage of $1,200 has $900 going to interest and $300 going to principal. Right? Is that backwards?
No, you're right.
Okay. That feels like it should be the other way. If I give them $1,200, shouldn't $900 be going off my? What's wrong with America? This is where I think you said that the banks and the devil got together and they flipped this thing around.
They did.
Yeah, they flipped it around.
Unless you're a bank.
Unless you're the
Then it
bank.
works out
Which is
different.
why I'm a form of
I
bank.
don't see them though, so.
Capitalist.
But the average mortgage, when you go and sign up for $1,200 a month on your house, is this $200,000 house? It will say that by the time you're done in 30 years, you'll usually pay about 3 times that amount. Your house will cost you $600,000. For your good faith, your lending statement, you will pay in interest and the principal 3 times on average. Okay? And the average American, when do they refinance? 5, 7, maybe a little longer right now, but somewhere in here. And what they're doing is they're starting this all over again. Where more goes to interest than goes to principal. And we grab a little equity, and our mortgage goes up to $250,000 because now our house has gone up theoretically, right? And so over time, the halfway point is right here. Saying basically half my money is going to interest and half my money is going to principal. And at the end of the day, you're debt free. So I like to look at this a little differently, and we'll block Joseph off again. And I'm not going to take it over quite so far. But what about this one? The bank have their own game. So there is a house. Payment, if you will. Okay? So you've got a house and you're renting it out. And somebody else is paying the mortgage payment. Okay? So you got 900 and 300, and you're going downhill like this. And someone else is paying your bill. And there's 4 things that are happening here. Your house is appreciating. Okay? You're getting tax deductions. So as this is going on, the house is getting more valuable. You're getting deductions for the interest. Okay? Like a horn. You've got what I call it is the horn of plenty. If you could do this 10 times over and have a house, we'll get our house in here now. Give you a better analogy of it. 200,000. You put 20 grand down. and it goes up 10% in a year, $200,000 house, put 20 grand down, it goes up 10% in a year, what's your rate of return on your $20,000? 100%. 200%?
Yeah, 220.
So I'm at 220 now?
Yeah, 220.
Yeah, you paid it down to 180, now you're at 220, you just made 40 grand.
180, and then you got 220, now you
220.
got 40,000.
So,
you got 200.
You've doubled your money, but you've had a 100% return on the money, and you've got a doubling of equity, if you will, because now your house, over the course of the year, is going on the roof, right? So what's happened is if you put someone in this house and you put 20 grand down, the eighth wonder of the world is called leverage, controlling a $200,000 house with a small amount of money. And so this small amount of money is doubled because real estate has gone up by 10%. Have you seen real estate go up by 10% in Tucson? Any given year? It's not common, but has it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Phoenix has been doing it. 1 year, real estate in Seattle went up 27%. I think they had 12 homes at the time. I don't even know what happened there. See also? So you're getting deductions on your taxes by controlling an asset. You're having equity go up, okay? And at the end of the day, you're owning a big chunk of equity. And now this house, you put a home equity line of credit on it, and go out and buy more houses. And buy more houses. I'll let Joseph back up. The fire marshal comes in and sees us block the door off, we're in trouble. So to me, I like to look at that in a different way through the investment eyes. Like, I like my own house, my own situation, in the bank scenario, but what if I converted that and put 10 or 20 of those together as investment properties and got them paid off, got deductions along the way, and my money, little bit of money controlling it. I don't know how much money we normally put down on a $200,000 house, but what if we could get 50 to 100% return on money in short order, but in long term, what if it's even more? And if you own homes long enough and then you want to sell it, one good way to do a fix and flip is what I call a delayed fix and flip, is move in, delayed fix and flip, move in it for 2-3 years, let it do that, let it do this, and take that money, tax-free, to the next one, to the next one. Well, I've ever made on a home that I've lived in and not paid taxes on is $325. You'll see a picture here of a house coming up pretty soon. We're trying to make $500,000 on a house that we're moving into. Okay? So really what it comes down to from the high efficiency, low efficiency, is we're controlling assets with a higher percentage of our leftover money, if you want to call it leftover money, intentionally keeping more of our own money. Otherwise, we're sitting here with the banks at their offer. Okay? And the rate of return on this, what kind of weird numbers are we talking about here? 50, 100%, doubling your money. So I'll show you how we do that when we get into real estate investing. We have wholesaling. You guys heard of wholesaling, right? From how I started, signing contracts to different people who wanted to buy. I went out and found buyers for real estate. Said, you're now my buyer. You're looking for rental properties in this part of Spokane. That's where I went. I didn't think I could buy real estate in Seattle because the houses were about $150,000 and they're about $30,000 to $50,000 in Spokane. So that seemed more rational to me. And so I tied them up and I found people who wanted to buy them, to move into them or buy them as rental properties and hold them. And I thought, wow, so I'll go out and be your finder, property locator. I'd find them, tie them up, and then have these investors take a look at them and put a loan on them and buy them from me. And so we call that wholesale. The next one is fix and flip. Okay? So as you see this go down, up here in wholesaling, if I tied a property up and couldn't find a buyer, very little risk for me because if you can't find a buyer, I have an escape clause subject to my inspection, subject to my partner's approval. If I can't find my partner, I can't inspect and pass the house, I can let it go and say, hey, I'm sorry, so it just didn't work out. Okay? A lot of effort. I'm out there knocking doors, doing mailing, doing a lot more, okay, to find the property. As I find a fix and flip, it's a little more risk because now I'm going to buy it, and I just had it tied up. I'm going to buy it and own it, so now I'm a little more invested in the property. a little bit less effort than I'm usually doing with myself, a partner, a contractor, so I don't have to go out and find somebody as well as find as many properties. And we go to fix and flip it. And Stephen, I think this is where you come up, buddy. One of our investors gets to come up. Stephen Quinn, all the way from Sierra Vista, coming up here. He's been with our group for a while. Tell his story, spend a couple minutes on what he's doing with his family, and he'll explain one of his projects.
So that's my family. In case you couldn't tell. So several years ago, I was a heating and air conditioning repair guy. That's all I did, and it was. I just like to use the reference of right now. So if you can imagine how hot it is outside right now in Arizona, you can imagine how busy heating and air conditioning guys are. And one of the things that I wanted to get back was my time. You talked about earlier having, money, time, knowledge, or relationships. And I was gone all the time. And my biggest frustration was I would leave early in the morning to go to work and my kids would be in bed. And I'd kiss my wife goodbye and she'd still be laying in bed, right? And then I would go to work all day, work 12, 14-hour shifts. And this was the time frame we would call. You have to come fix my air conditioner today because grandma's gonna die of the heat or the newborn baby was gonna die of the heat. And so I, being a good guy, would just work all those hours. But by the time I would get home at 11 o'clock at night, my family's back in bed. And so you do that a whole summer. And when I would finally see my kids awake, they were now grown, bigger than the last time I had seen them. And that was a huge frustration as a dad. So I wanted to figure out how to get into real estate, and Renata's helped me do that. So that's my family. This I picked up from a wholesaler. So somebody in my community called me up and said, hey, I hear you do real estate. And I'm like, yes, I do. This is one of the earlier ones, so I was new at it. And showed me this deal. And the long story short is I bought it from the wholesaler. I brought in a partner from the community who helped me buy it. I didn't have any money. And then I went in and fixed it up. And what's kind of neat is I see a few people in the room here who actually were with me when I did that. So that was kind of cool. Huh? Yeah, so Linda's been there. Michael and the people have been there. But anyway, so we cleaned up this house, fixed it up, and resold it for a profit. And the fun part in that whole process was I was able to learn how to do it without using any of my own money to fix it up and sell it to somebody else. And Ray's sitting here smiling. I'll let you tell your part of the story. The world is small. That's what I got to say. But we sold it and made a profit. And, I was able to take that profit and move into the next one. But essentially, it allowed me to buy my time back so that I got home with my family. And one of my favorite things about my life now is that when I'm ready for school. And my wife and I, or sometimes just me, will walk down to the bus stop 3 houses down from our house, and I'll put them on the bus. And then I walk back home and I sit down at my kitchen table, and my wife and I figure out what we're going to do with her. And that is so much better than leaving early in the morning and being gone working hard all day long, coming home sweaty, dirty, and nasty, and taking a shower by myself and go getting into bed with my wife already asleep. That is what this did for me. So,
you got time and freedom and
right.
choices.
So I'm going to leave it at that. But Ray, because I saw you smiling so big, what's your part of the story in the house?
Okay, so the cool thing about this house
You
is
can finish that.
no, this is you yeah, you stay up here. So we've been friends on Facebook for a long time. I've seen this house, when he's posting his looking. Like, oh man. And then so I see this exact same picture come up on my brother's Facebook page. It's like, we just bought a house. Like, totally seen the house. So, yes, this is my brother's house. This is my brother's house. Yeah. So my brother, he's been in the Army for 10 years, and he just got restationed in Fort Huachuca, and they were looking around for houses. And I'm like, all right, let's do this. I know a lot of people down here at Vista. We can find a good deal, fix it up. It's a lot of work. Don't want to do that. I'm like, no, you don't understand. You could put like 20 grand into it, build up $50,000 back. Don't want to do that. We can't find any deals though. We can't find a house. We found this one that's amazing. Like, you're not gonna capture the money. Somebody else is gonna get paid. So, I mean, it was so crazy, and then so, but it's crazy how that works because they absolutely love it. They love that.
That-
Is it a
It's-
fortune?
Yeah, it's a 4-2.
It's a huge house.
Yeah, it's got a
It's
big lot,
huge
it's a big
house.
house. But what was neat about that story to me is when we fix up a house and we sell it, I don't get to see what happens to it afterwards. So to have a relationship where I know that the person bought it, they still love it and whatnot, and I've had it happen again. We've had another home in Sierra Vista that I did that somebody moved into. They recently joined Renatus with me because I flipped the house and they wanted to learn how I did it. And now I get to see their house and it didn't change a thing. The paint colors are the same, everything, and you expect that.
Is that the NASCAR house?
Yeah, it is actually. But anyway, I'm not gonna hold up any more time, but it's just neat to see how you can affect people.
That's one of our success stories. You guys can add to the thing. We've got lists and lists of people. You'll see a couple more come up here. Good stuff. That's fix and flipping real estate, right? And did you say what your profit was on that?
Oh, I didn't. I think I walked away with 15. I think we made 30 and we split 15 each.
How long
me
did
and the
it
other.
take about? I just
Um,
don't care. I don't
That
know.
one took a few months. It wasn't too terrible, but it was a couple months.
Good. And then Ray's brother.
But
Alright, so as you go down, these are just 4 different ways we're going to show you on the real estate cycle. There's many ways, but this is 4. One of the most popular is wholesale. Buy it, sell it to somebody else. Fix and flip. The next one, rental properties, buy and hold. This is a situation here where you've got somebody else renting your home, paying your mortgage, okay? You're getting income from it. You have appreciation's happening. You're getting tax deductions. You're leveraging the heck out of it. Someone else is in your home. You're having a rental home, okay? Putting some runs on the board. Buy and hold real estate. It's gonna take you a little bit less effort because you don't have to fix them up as much. You don't have to look as hard. You don't have to buy them quite as cheap. You're buying them for cash flow. So that may not mean much to a lot of folks in here, but if you're trying to buy a house to fix and flip, you gotta make your 30 grand, you gotta have the numbers work. What if there's not 30 grand worth of equity, but there's $350 a month coming out of it, and you got $20,000 worth of net equity? Would you buy a bunch of houses, make $350 a month, that you had $20,000 equity in it that didn't have to come out of your pocket?
All day long.
It's just, it's what we do. And many of the homes that you can do this are very creative how we do it. There's things called lease options. There's things called subject to, buying the home and leaving the owner's mortgage in place, taking over their position because they can't make the payments. They've had problems in their life. When I talk on Saturday for foreclosures, the biggest thing that's probably going to come out as far as why people are distressed is they have social issues. They have addictions. They have lots of jobs. They have lots of personal problems. America's great. You know, divorce, you name it, death, divorce, disabilities, all kinds of things happen, and we can't pay our bills. And it's kind of funny, but a person will let a house go for $40,000, $50,000 worth of equity. Okay, sign it over to you, okay, just to get out of it. But try to get a $100 bill or a $20 bill in cash out of it. So, hey, you just gave me a house that has $50,000 worth of equity. What's in your bank? Well, I got $50,000. Well, why'd you give me that? No way. The transfer of equity and the transfer of cash that comes through real estate, because people are in a motivated situation in a short time frame to get out from underneath the debt, is incredible. It's why I like foreclosure real estate. Okay? And we help them. I call them fallen angels. I've helped more people than I even got close to ever harming. I don't even know if I've ever harmed anybody. But I know I've helped a ton of people, and a lot of them I haven't even bought their home. I've just given them good advice. But it's a win-win-win, and it's not like let that be a big win for me, for them, and then a big win for me. It's got to be 2 fairly equal W's. I want them to win, and I win. They want freedom. They want to get their mortgage out. They don't want to be in foreclosure. They don't want to have their credit ruined. They'd like to get a good referral, maybe to a rental property. Play the ball nice with me. Maybe I'll give you a referral. I don't know. So anyway, buy and hold real estate. At the end of the game, a lot of us want to be the lender. Okay, we're the bank. Okay, we're going to teach and learn how to put money in place on houses where we are in a low equity position. Let's just get a pen in here that's a different color. And maybe we'll put a $140,000 mortgage on a house. And we'll lend it. Lend it out. Okay? If something happened and went wrong, let's say we got 8, 9%. There's a lot of people, you know, what's the interest rate right now? 3, 4?
Yeah.
4? Anybody have a number? Floating around 4? Well, there's a lot of people that don't qualify for those mortgages. But they got good income and they can pay higher. So we put our money, maybe not for a long period of time, maybe just a year, 2 or 3 years, let them right the ship, but we can charge, 6, 8% or more. So we leverage it. So that if something did go wrong and they became a fallen angel, there's a difference, a spread of $60,000, $80,000. So that if I had to take the house back, we could still be okay. Okay? We actually teach in one of our masterminds in Phoenix how to buy notes, how to buy this position at a discount because this person's in foreclosure and banks are selling off their assets and want to get out from underneath these notes. And so you might buy $150,000 notes. The average in the Phoenix office right now, buying in the Midwest, is about 45 to 50 cents on the dollar. So some of the positions that they've picked up, because these people want off and out because they're seeing a possible foreclosure and it's not the best situation. And it probably, when they did it, was $165,000. Let's just take the lid off this sucker. I'm sure we've got one of these, but they probably did it wrong. And they probably did it where there wasn't any equity. And it's 165. You think the house is in good shape? They're behind on their payments. Very good chance that there's deferred maintenance, there's work that needs to be done, and so the bank looks at it and evaluates it, saying, now it's probably worth $125,000. We take it back in foreclosure. I know I'm starting to go down the real estate. I'm a real estate educator, I'm not a presenter for this whole big thing. As much as I am, I could just sit here all day talking about houses. That would be better than the horn. But I like the horn because it spits out equity, it spits out cash flow. It's the analogy I'm trying to get across to you. But what if? So that's some of the things we train. So the money lender is going to be at a higher risk. We're going to take your money, your retirement money, your family, your friends, your investors' money, and we're in a good equity position. So if something did bad happen, you're not going to be taken, and you'll win the game. Okay? And there's very little effort. You get down to the point with one guy, Brad, in their office, so was in our mastermind last night. All he wants to do is place his money. He doesn't want to do all this work. He just wants to put his money and get it at a good rate of return. And this even gets better when you start buying houses and the people just need a little down payment and they want to pay a short amount for what we call the gap. There's a gap between the big loan and the small loan. Some people don't have the money to buy a house. They can get the loan, but they don't have the cash. So you can short-term rent out some money at a double-digit rate of return. We call it gap funding. Put that term out there. See, I'm going down the real estate path again.
That's okay.
We're trying to grow this community by just showing you guys some of the things we do. Real estate is ideal because there's income that comes off of it. Multiple streams of income. What does that mean? Rents, lease options, quick cash for flipping homes, okay? Airbnb, the VRBO. You can get income rentals now for assisted living. When you have people that are either have medical or mental or other issues, they want to have a graceful, nice place to live, and you can rent out homes for 2 to 3 to 4 times what a normal house would rent for, because we have a higher and better use for those homes now. Potentially, there's houses in Tempe around the college called student housing. Wish we would have kept that one on Twain. So I heard it was great. 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath house. Probably would have rented for $1,400, $1,500 a month. Well, if we put the student housing thing in and rented it by the room, we could have possibly rented it for 25. Who knows what the number is? So buy homes around colleges, buy homes in areas where now you can do the vacation, or we call it nightly rentals. Rent your houses out or your rooms out by the night. Linda.
We had one, being shown Saturday, and he thought, and he'll talk about it, but that July wouldn't be good. He's rented more nights in July than he ever gets.
Yeah.
And he's doing very well.
There's people finding the same thing.
Yeah, it just shocked him.
And it's, well, you know what's happening to the
People
hotel
from
industry.
Texas are coming in.
Hotel industry's hurting though. They're feeling the impact of it. And would you rather spend a night or two in a house or a night or two at the Ramada or Hilton, If you do it at a lot of hotels, you rent out the house. Some of them they actually rent out rooms and they're still there. So, you socialize with the neighbors, I guess. So there's a lot of ways to get income. Quick cash or cash flow. Quick cash is flipping houses, bigger chunks. Cash flow is longer terms. Deductions, we already talked about the taxation. I won't go down that avenue, but I'll just tell you what. Let someone else figure your house out as it appreciates and take tax write-offs for it along the way. Come on. Eighth wonder of the world. and take advantage of the opportunities we have in America. Don't let the Europeans think that we're taking it for granted. Equity is the difference between what you owe and what it's worth. And over time, real estate goes up between 5 to 10%, or 85% in the Midwest, 10%. Some areas of the country, we have double-digit rates of return. We've been having that now on the West Coast for 3 to 4, maybe 5 years. Portland, Seattle, San Diego, these homes are going up by 10, 15, 20% a year. Crazy appreciation. That's what we just talked about. That's what crazy equity. You know what? So 1 year, yeah, we had the 12. I think it was 12 houses went up 27%. On the balance sheet, it's like I made over $500,000. I almost became a $500,000 in here just by watching what real estate did, and we made whatever money we did. There's no way I made $500,000. My net worth went up because I owned and controlled houses. That's what we say. Control stuff. Not just like own it. Leverage. That's how borrowing these houses. That's a little down payment to control a big asset, and then let that little down payment double and triple over a short period of time. So real estate is ideal, and those are some of the main categories. All right, well, we're gonna get dug up here in a minute. Another disclosure that money's made by applying these real estate investment principles. Okay, and there's no guarantees what's going to happen and how you'll make. Each person does differently. And so, Doug, we're going to get you. Is Debbie here too, or just you? Woo! You guys come up and just talk about your project, and then we're going to show you what this education looks like, guys, and then we'll kick you out at 9 o'clock, and you can go back to your day lives or night lives or.
My name's Doug, and my lovely wife. Yeah.
Woo!
Well, since we got started because of retirement. We didn't have any retirement. We didn't have anything in the bank, and we went, oh crap.
Oh crap.
And
Is that a
so
legal
what did you
term?
do?
Is that a legal term?
Yeah.
Results are not taken.
No Simon.
And for religious term, say, oh, holy crap.
Yeah. So what we ended up doing is getting involved. Here we met some folks, JC and Linda Williams, and started playing Cashflow. We're basically employee mindseted for the longest time. It just went to work, did the same thing over and over, and we didn't have a retirement. We decided that she'd stay home and raise our 4 kids, and that they would know who we are because of that. That was what we wanted to do.
Because you guys know stay-at-home moms don't get
So, you know how it is in this.
but
in
our
this
kids
way,
gain a
so.
lot.
Yeah, so, and you know how it is, it's 2-income society, right? Nowadays. And so, just on my income, it was tough. It's tough. So, we got involved and we started learning, and we got education, and we started building relationships. And because of that, building relationships in this community, we were able to purchase 6 little houses for the price of one big, nice $200,000 house. And so they throw off about $830 a month cash flow. And there's some, Jim is one of our, he actually sold the property to us, but he's also, carries a second on it. So none of our own money in this, and we bought it for cash flow, plain and simple. Okay, we may have it leveraged out, but it's leverage, And the cool thing is, it's real estate. There's equity being built by the tenants, and so that's what these little numbers are. That's where the cash flow is coming from on this photo. So it's pretty cool. It's a very unique little property.
Yeah.
And it's fully tenanted, but not without its challenges, but we're learning, and it's been exciting. So, is there anything?
You got one, you got your house.
Oh, okay.
The pretty house.
Okay, so now this is,
Pretty.
when we're talking about the 4 currencies, money, but relationships are huge. okay? And we built relationships, with some folks here. And our company formed a company with two other individuals' companies. And we have a former partnership, called Cost Ventures LLC. This was our first, project. It is still not sold yet, but we have folks, it's in Green Valley, and it is, it's on the market right now. But we definitely have some interest in this property very recently. Actually,
Fix and flip, right?
it is a fix and flip.
It's a rehab.
It turned out to be a rehab because,
And it was
we
a
ended
HUD.
up,
Yes.
and you can see, and look at this landscape. My partner, Frank, is a
He's a
landscaper,
velocity bank.
and he's in that room right now. But yeah, he did the landscape on this, his company. And, Brian took the photos. So, here we go. These are the inside. So,
Yeah, just imagine this house when we opened the doors.
1980s.
Yeah, everything was pink.
Mauve. 80s
Carpeting,
mauve.
walls.
This was carpet.
um,
There was an ugly,
Yeah.
just,
um,
and,
The story behind the person who owned the home was that she outlived her retirement.
she did.
And so she couldn't keep the home.
So she's a
She
fallen
outlived her
angel, if you will.
money, yeah. And so she ended up, having to turn it back to, I guess she must have had a lot of government loan or something. And she ended up, having to move, but it was like 90-something.
Yeah, so her family came with us.
Well, let me ask you guys a question. How long have you been part of this group?
3 years.
3 years.
And you're still on your day job, or did you get rid of them?
Just left.
That's what I thought.
A month ago.
A month ago. What did you do before?
30 years in business equipment, service technician, as a copier, service, networking.
And how about you? Debbie?
I worked in the medical field for about 15 years, and I got laid off about 3 years ago, and I decided that we weren't gonna go back, but we're gonna follow this path.
What do you guys see here? These are a couple projects, but you've studied a lot, you networked a lot those
Yes.
first couple of years, but now you're starting to get up and get it rolling. What do you see happening to you guys?
Our goal this year is 100 grand in revenue. Okay.
That's worth it.
We are, currently doing another fix and, it's crazy because we would have never thought we'd be doing a $500,000 fix and flip. Actually, it's a rehab project. There's a difference, guys. There's education that teaches you how to do this stuff.
They start out so as a fix and flip.
None of our own money,
Yeah.
none of our, own credit. And, we stand to make about 50 grand on that deal as a partnership. Okay, that's our partnership.
Now imagine the project or the company is gonna buy some equipment and some other things, expenses, so you don't pay tax on all that.
Business, yeah.
Yeah.
Business credit, yes.
You know, we like to have our contractor buy, you know, a sprayer, some ladders. Every project needs to buy more things for the next project. Why have it all take out in taxation? So just a little free advice.
No.
Thank you guys, you know? How do you think you acquire all that stuff? It's not supposed to write a check, it's like the house is gonna, it's like the check's paying in.
The tax write-off.
So Joseph said, thank you guys, it's just so cool, I love it. What's gonna happen in the next year or two is gonna be unreal.
I know.
You'll just look at that day job you used to have and say, oh man, why did I wait 30 years?
Yeah.
Sent me over and he usually gets up here, but we got him over there starting this path. We were starting to widen the lanes. Velocity banking. Next week we're starting the essentials. So we'll get Joseph off the screen and up here in front of us next year. But he's got a great family. He's got a lot of houses. Come on, clicker. But Joseph's been around. He's like Greg. They've been here for a while. Last 3 or 4 years doing this with you. What did Joseph do before? You remember what he did?
Social worker.
Social worker.
And, corrections officer.
Now he's a comedian, he's an educator, he's got income coming in. What happens is when we buy our time back, and then when you're not talking about money, you talk about time, it's right on. Find a way to own your time and have enough money to go out and do the things you really want to do with your life. Yeah, that's it. You know, you may have to work 16-hour days for a while. But you can take 16 days off in a row sometimes too.
Think of all the people you're helping too. You're hiring all the contractors, you're hiring all the people to get the properties done. You're showing other people how to do it, by coming to property while it's being worked on. It's just like a win, 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 win. I just had to add that.
Well, and what we are is entrepreneurs, guys. Okay, and an entrepreneur visualizes stuff and actualizes stuff. Okay, we're self-starters. We work harder than people that have a job. We see opportunity. We see more things. Okay, that's just what happens. And we also like to be first in stuff. We're competitive. You know, first at a project, first at a house is better than not doing it at all. And so many people don't do that. JC, you got something to say?
One of the things, just one of those things about us as entrepreneurs, we do things that other people won't do, so we can have a life that other people can't have.
That's right. We're willing to do more, work harder, do things that most people aren't willing to do, so that we can do the things later in life that they wish that they could. That's why Pam and I spent 42 days in Europe. That's why I worked 16-hour days. It's cool. It was kind of cool. The month of May when we were gone, we actually had a $10,000 month that month. While being away, we took 3 phone calls, but our business back home made us $10,000 that month. Just about paid for the trip. So those are some of Joseph's projects. Let me take that website down and check it out. And the person that you've got here, sit down with them and talk to them about it. And come back next week. That's what we really want you to do. If you know, we're looking for you and you're looking for us, this is a place to come in and start a business. And so, this is what it looks like. This gentleman saw the seminar industry, the junk, you know, the gurus, not the junk, but all the trainers. And he said, you know what, I'm gonna get together all of the bigwigs in the country and put them in one room in Vegas. You charge $5,000 a person. I don't know how many people he had. I think it was 350 people. And he got the who's who of real estate training together for 3 days in Vegas. And let these guys and gals get up there and teach. And each of them got 3-4 hours. 3-4 hours, 5 hours, whatever their point was. And each one of them sold their seminar to take them to the next level. What Bob Snyder thought was happening was bring together all these specialists and intellect and teach my people, and they got sold. And he goes, no, that wasn't the concept that I was thinking about. The concept I was thinking about was get people together that are doing this stuff and teach my people, and I'll charge them a price, but I don't want each and every one of them to charge a price. And the hard part with me when I went to my seminar is the first one cost $6,300, the next one cost $10,000, and the next one cost $12,000. And I'm sitting up there, you add that up, that's what, $28,000 plus the $69 for a night like this. And I'm sitting at the 4th seminar, about 15 months into it, and I realize I'm on day 3 and they haven't taught me much. Holy Batman. And I go, there's another seminar coming, isn't there? And damn it, if there wasn't another seminar coming. I'm at $28,000. So we're going to show you what it's cost right up front. There's nothing more that you can spend. It's not a cost, it's an investment. So what he did is he hired a PhD in education. He said, teach my people, when people go to school to learn how to become a doctor, a lawyer, a vet, become good at it. Don't just come to my seminar and put all the brain surgeons in a room and in 3 days tell me I'm a brain surgeon. Teach me about the body, teach me about the blood system, the nervous system, teach me about all the other players in the operating room do before you just give me a scalpel and a knife and say, hey, in 3 days you can start cutting on me. Who's up for that? Okay, so he did the instructional system design process, which is small classes, 100 level, 200, 300, 400. Learn the small stuff before you start the 400 level classes. You don't usually do 400 level classes in college to win. Second, third year, 4th year, whatever it is. Yeah. Well, seminar world out there where I went, it was 400 level class right out of the gate, probably. Okay. Try to keep up. And so what they establish curriculum paths. We're going to show you those curriculum paths, how to become major in some of these things that we've been talking about. Sought out people that know what they're doing, industry professionals. We call them practitioner instructors. Okay, a practitioner at what he or she does, they can instruct you from their day job, their day life, their day business, their fix and flip business, their wholesale business, whatever it is. Teach us what you're doing in today's world, okay, in today's time. And then we have a live and online, classes. You can take them live, That's some of the things this group offers here, as well as up in Phoenix, and it's all online. That's the way of the world today. It's just 24 hours live demand. And we have after support systems. So the reason when we started here today saying, you know what, we're doing the opposite of the gurus. We're showing you our community first. We're showing you who we are, and we're breaking out here this week. Next week there'll be 2 spots because we're starting with the foundational, and we're just going to keep going. As people jump in, they just jump in where we're at and keep up with us. And so the whole idea here is the support is the people. The support is the horsepower of people learning what you're learning alongside you. Okay. And what happens to some of those people is they become instructors themselves. And so I was a student of this company and went through, and my wife Pam and I, now we're teaching the wealth acceleration track. You'll see that in a minute. So here's the difference to me. I went to this education system, 2009, 10, 11, somewhere around there, 9, 10 when we started. And I had, up to that point, never got over 8 real estate transactions in a 12-month period. I flipped homes, but I got up to 8. Okay? And it was like 15, 16 years. Well, how long was that? Even longer than that. 18 years of doing this. And 8 houses in a 12-month period. My first year after learning the system and working together with more people, I did 25. The year after that, 37, and the most I've ever done in 1 calendar year was 42 real estate transactions. Kind of crazy. Okay? And what happens with someone like that is he gets to become one of the instructors and his face is out there. So when you go to myrenatus.com, it's alphabetical. I never had a chance to do that until you guys got me up here presenting. But auctions comes first, so it's alphabetical. It's not because of looks or anything, or talent or skill. And I kept telling Bob Snyder, you design this, you got the practitioners in there. I'm a student who was asked to come and teach a class. We're doing hundreds of real estate transactions the way they do. I told him it should be called foreclosure auctions. Foreclosure, and I was adamant about it. And I guess at some point, because now I'm up there first. So that's what it is. So here's what it looks like after you get to know Bob Snyder. He's the same guy. Pam and I are out at our house. And this is one of the other opportunities that's become a new certainty for us. And this is our $1 million fix and flip. It was a home that was wholesale from someone in Scottsdale. It was listed and for sale for $1.35. We got it for $950. Charles got a wholesale fee of $20,000 and $5,000 to close. So we bought this house for $975. So somebody in the community tied it up, signed the contract or wholesaled it off to a buyer. Tried 3 or 4 different buyers, but we were the ones that said, you know what? We could do a move in, live in, fix and flip, make potentially $500,000 in a year or 2 or 3 years. We're in one house. I think this one has the potential. It's in the Biltmore area. It's cool.
Very cool.
It's really cool. And so we're not bragging. We're just saying, hey, we're in real estate. We're all in. We sold our home up in the East Valley, bought it. We have a $250,000 mortgage. We're not totally free cash, but most of our money is our money in the deal. Good place to park it. And that's just what it looks like. That's either Swap Peak, Swap Peak up here. We are at the treetops. That's a tennis court. I never owned a tennis court. I got stuck in an elevator or took an elevator and quit my job. And for some reason now I'm on my first house with an elevator. The craziest thing in the world. How in the heck did that ever happen? I haven't been stuck in there yet. And here, Miss Claustrophobic, she's in there with me, moving away. There's Pam having fun, just coming, you gotta get her to the pool. Just kind of a fun little project. So here's what's gonna happen. We're just gonna give you a really quick snapshot of our educational offerings, the things that we've got, the things that you can plug into. The essentials, the foundation. We are kicking this off next week. We're gonna start going through these classes as a group. We'll have advanced education that comes out of that as well. But these are the things that we should have learned in school, how to set ourselves up in tax. We told you, high efficiency, low efficiency. Get ourselves taxation. Learn velocity banking. Joseph's teaching you that. How to get out of debt. It's great to get into debt, but let's learn how to get out of debt. Okay? All the money that we ever need to do real estate and invest and start businesses really is right now in retirement accounts, 401ks. Learn to direct that yourself. Sherwin-Williams, Schwab, whatever, Raymond James, you name it. Don't let them be the only director of your money. Direct some of this yourself. You can actually take some of your retirement money, if not all, and put it into an account where we have checkbook control and write your own checks, do your own investing. If you know how to do it right, you teach it. Okay? And so these are some of the basics that you're wealth management and your real estate, if you combine it together, somewhere where I used to learn, taught me all of this. Well, they didn't have a foundations class. They didn't tell me what the red flags were. They just told me about all the good stuff. Never told me anything of an opportunity. There's a lot of certainty out there that's not so perfect. But if you learn what to do and what not to do, you can offset it. So we start with the essentials, okay? And we break our classes up into different paths. And so this is what happens now as you get past the essentials, get past that foundation. You break our class paths, our learning paths into core, strategic, and then there's some bonus classes that come along with it. Now I'm just gonna click through these for you. The business management. Someone in here wants to start a business, run a business, owns a business, and wants to learn from people that are doing it. I mean, there's some stuff that's over a C+ person's head right there. There definitely is cost segregation, financial strategies. They expect to buy houses for less than what they're worth. They make $32,000. Some of this stuff, we are hiring a brainiac because we want to learn that stuff. And it's not just stuff, but those are some of the classes. This is the curriculum. This is a major in college. You can learn how to run a business and run it right. Selling these options and auctions. My class is right here. We'll learn how to negotiate, how to tie it up, how to close it, okay, what it's worth, how to flip it, how to assign that contract, how to find a buyer before you find a house. Most people find a house and then try to look for a buyer, and hint, there's a better way of doing it. How to analyze these properties, rent to own, lease options, great stuff. You need to understand money. You don't want to do hard money, you want to find private money. But at the end of the day, 2/3 of the money you need to buy any house is out there. 70, 80%, depending upon what it is. And hard money, you pay 10, 12% interest and 2 points for it. But people have their money in retirement accounts, right now they're making 1, 2, 3, 4%, whatever they're making, or they're sitting in cash because they're afraid that the market's gonna go down. Could it go down? It's been going up. You think it's gonna start going tipping up? Are we right there? Right? They might want to do that. But you take that private money at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8% and not pay the hard money points. So that's just a good one. Fix and flip, we've talked about that. Some of your fix and flips are actually rehabs where you're taking down walls, adding square footage, gutting a home as a rehab. Fix and flip, that's carpet, paint, some of the lighter kinds of stuff. Again, you need to understand your money. You'll see why some of these classes are duplicated in some of the tracks here in a minute. Buy and hold, that's the rental. See, we're just going down the risk reward, right? The different types of paths that we have. If you're gonna have a bunch of rentals, shouldn't you know how to manage properties? As one client?
No.
Possibly not. Maybe a real estate agent could be a great property manager. He or she is tired of selling real estate and being the salesperson. Maybe they are a great person that would be a manager for you, or would like to get a cut of the rent and become trained by you on how to run a rental property business. Really good thing. Home inspections, we're now kicking into nightly rentals. In the buy and hold, this is our basic class. We have a whole half on it. It's that big right now. Multi-family, this is the whole idea of little greenhouses turned into red hotels. Is that how it works? What's that game called? Monopoly. Right? So I'm going to start out with houses, but I end up, why can't I just have a whole bunch of doors under one roof?
Take tenants and real agreements.
This one?
Will keep you in hot water.
This one right here?
Seriously.
Absolutely. Yeah.
First classes.
Man, you had 6 reasons why, right? This house, that house, this house, 6 people's lives.
And they have their daughter who is the property.
Oh, so you've worked on this one a little bit. Have her listen to this one. That's cool. So we're just showing you this, and this is information we can take it out much deeper level. Just want to let you know what's available, what we're doing, and you'll find 1 or 2 good ways to make money. Gary Keller, one of the owners of Keller Williams, wrote a book called The One Thing. Just get good at one thing and do really, really good at it, and the rest of the stuff doesn't really matter. But you might want to have options. Because I've got real good at the options. Now I'm good at fixing and flipping my own homes. I've done a lot of lease option work, equity sharing. There's a handful of things that I've done. But when I got into it, I got really good at buying houses and foreclosing. And Gary writes a book, and we just say find 1 or 2 of these things and get really good at it. This is buying notes. You don't really have the rental property side, you're on the money side of it. So these are, again, You'll see why these are how to do seller financing, how to be the bank, like we talked about right over yonder. Okay? Short sales and foreclosures. Short sales is discounting the bank. You know, when the times go bad and the bank needs to get out, they can foreclose on you, or you can make an offer and ask them to take a discount. And during the time when real estate was going down, that was big. It's not as big today as it was then, but if you think it's gonna change and come back again, you need to know. We need to be nimble, quick, and have different options. And all of a sudden, short sales come back, man, cram your way through some of these. If you think people that are losing it in foreclosure possibly are in bankruptcy, should you know about bankruptcy?
Sure.
Absolutely.
That's a new class, that hasn't been around.
And it goes from single family to multifamily up to commercial and land. And there's some of the commercial. And then eventually you want to retire in real estate. And these are some of your money classes. A 1031 is rolling one house to the next house and not paying the tax. Rolling that house to an apartment building and not paying the tax. You don't pay the tax until you finally sell a house at the end and don't replace it with another asset. It's just exchanging from one to the next to the next. If you do it right, you could be at a back and be completely cash flush and have cash flow. And at the end of the day, if you decided to sell that asset, I don't know, America right now, the capital gains rate is what? Does everybody know what the capital gains?
15.
You guys know what capital gain is?
Is it still 15?
Yeah.
Did it go down?
Yeah. The tax rate on selling a capital asset that you've owned for 12 months or there or more months, you know, is 15%. It's not a bad tax rate.
No.
You know,
It's
33
flat
with 30. I think you don't want to exchange it, roll it into the next house, and be locked into real estate. Just sell and pay 15% of the gain. You pay 200 for it. It went to 400. You're not paying tax on the first 200. Actually, you got tax deductions for some of it. You have to possibly repay some tax on that. But the next 200 that went up is where you're paying 15%. You're not paying 15% of the whole asset. Here we go, teaching real estate. Wealth acceleration. This is a class Pam and I are in. One of the things that you really have to understand, that we don't understand when I got into this business, is who are we as an investor? What's our ID? What's our strengths? What's our weaknesses? What are we good at? Okay? And then figure out, if you're not a fix and fix guy, I don't fix houses. I can tear it apart. Pam knows. I don't put it. I've tried 3 times to fix a toilet in our guest house. I finally got it this week. I actually had to go to my tackle box to find some lure and some swivels and stuff. And I got it working for a while until the metal bent. I thought, oh man, Jesse, you'd be embarrassing me to see how many good stuff. But you ask what you do, John. I flip houses for a living. Okay, I should have found something different to do, but I'm a contractor. I joint ventured with the contractor. You know how to do it. I'll give you some of the profit. Just get it done on time and get it done on budget. I'll go out and find deals and I'll help sell the deals. You fix them. But you know, within my idea, I probably would have been better finding something else. Who knows what it was? Okay, but either way, cool part is that when you're buying houses, the investor idea, the idea of that person you're buying from isn't the person that you're really serving. The person you're serving on the other end over here is your tenant, your lease option, the person you're selling to. So when you go out to, I was never trained this, when you go out to buy a house, John, think of the person that you're selling it to when you're buying it. And all I was told is find equity, find that percentage of difference. Find that. Now when I think about it, it's like, you know what, this house would be a great lease option. This one would be a great fix and flip. You know what, that'd be a great buy and hold. Because now I found the highest and best use of the house because I'm serving somebody over here that will pay premium dollars for that. I was never trained that way. We trained people. So Pam and I are here. We're moving down and doing all the classes. And wealth acceleration is a lot of fun. Short-term rentals, brand new, just came out in our group. These are a suite of classes that are coming out on teaching us how to do the Airbnb, the VRBO, the nightly rentals. Okay? So, we're almost done here, guys. How do you get started? You know, this is how we break up the education. We're not asking you to buy anything, invest anything. This is something that's right for you. You'll know it, we'll know it, and we'll talk about it. Usually, it's trying to help find the money. And if you can find a couple grand, 15, 20 grand, to get into real estate education, that's what this investment could be, then your chances of finding $200,000 to $300,000 to buy a house are much better. So some people, just to find a couple grand is tough. So, you know, we want to teach you how to do that. And so our essentials program we showed you earlier with all of this is $2 grand. If you buy 2 of those pets, Okay, that's why the classes were duplicated down here on the bottom. You can pick two, just come on out, guys, if you want.
Things in the front row,
You guys come on out. We're almost done too.
front row, guys.
Yeah, front row, front row. Front row. Front row. So you guys are all lighter, you've accelerated your debt.
Excuse me.
Oh, that's all right. There he is.
I melted their brains, I'm sorry.
I know, I can tell.
I'll just pick up the pieces with what's left.
So, a couple of the paths, you pick two of those for this, okay? But everybody suggest, everybody does that, just everybody has. You can combine this, okay? Two of our paths with the essentials. You combine all of the paths, okay? I'll show you here in a second what's most popular.